Hi, you know what this is? This is the proverbial chip on a shoulder. My name is Jeff Minier, pastor of Shiloh Baptist Church of Bowie, Maryland. And today we want to talk about the 4 rules of communication. Since sin entered into the world, people constantly have a chip on their shoulder. People constantly run into conflicts because my goals, my priorities, what I think is important may well be different from yours. And I want what I want. And so immediately we're in conflict. I would encourage you to pause the devotional long enough to go to shilohofbowie.com and download the notes, 4 rules of communication from Ephesians chapter 4. In today's devotional, we'll go through points 1 and 2, and then in our next devotional, we'll go through points 2 and 3. 4 rules of communication. When we are going to solve problems, deal with issues in a way that productively is a win-win for both of us, even if that win-win means we help other people stop sinful, destructive behavior. That's a win-win for everybody. The 4 rules are, according to the Bible in Ephesians chapter 4, number 1, we must be honest. Number 2, we must keep current, deal with today's issue. Number 3, we must attack problems, not people, stay issue-oriented. If I shred the other person's character, if I attack them as a person, I have not accomplished anything except throwing mud and made the fight that much nastier. Number 4, act, don't react. Be honest, keep current, attack problems, not people, act biblically, don't react sinfully. So let's start filling in our notes here. From Ephesians chapter 4. Ephesians 4:25. Therefore, each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to his neighbor, for we are all members of one body. Therefore, each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to his neighbor. That word neighbor is going to have significant overlap. The greatest commandment, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. The second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. So speak truthfully to the people in your life. That is the only way we will stay out of nasty fights, when we speak the truth. This is not just putting off lying, it is speaking truth. In the Greek, this verb is an imperative. It's a command. You speak. We need to remember that other people cannot read our minds. We must speak. Number 3, honesty is more than not lying. It also means not avoiding and not evading. So under 2b in our notes, speak the truth. Problems cannot be solved unless they are expressed. How to speak the truth will come up in rule number 3, and especially with our 6 questions. So as we think of how to resolve conflicts, calm things down, dishonesty is out. How many sales pitches have you sat through in the last few years? I'm astonished at how often outright lies and deception are freely used, and the salespeople have no conscience, no guilt at all. It seems perfectly okay to do whatever is needed to make a sale. That is the heart of sin. That is the heart of selfishness. As long as I get my way, I'm happy. Who cares about you? But if we're going to solve problems God's way and have relationships that are God-honoring, then dishonesty must be out. That means outright deceit is gone. Exaggeration, embellishment, conflict between my body language, the tones and context of what we say, disguising the message and innuendos. we can use sarcasm and we can use double entendres when we're playing and having fun with each other. But when there's a problem at hand, dishonesty, be very clear with your speech. Dishonesty must be kept out. First rule of communication, be honest. Secondly, keep current. Two things that need to be kept out of difficult conversations. You always, that always may be trying to say, I'm so frustrated right now because this is not the first time we're dealing with this issue. But as soon as I say, you always, I'm bringing in so much baggage that we can't solve today's issue. We must leave the words always out. And the parallel to you always is you never. You never listen to me. You never do what I want. You never. It is still bringing in who knows how many years of baggage, and it will not help us solve today's issue. It may be true that today's issue has been going on for a long time, but we will not resolve any of those past issues if we can't deal biblically with today's problem. And so you always, you never are again attacking the person. It's not staying issue oriented. And so we need to keep current. How does the Bible address that? Ephesians 4:26 and 27. In your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you're still angry. Do not give the devil a foothold. One of the reasons my parents had such a good marriage is that they had picked this up from some church they were attending. They were determined to never let the sun go down on their anger. They were going to resolve their problems before they went to sleep each night, or they would agree that we're so tired we're not getting it all done, but we will deal with this tomorrow when we're clear-headed. Keep current. So right off we see, in your anger, do not sin. Get angry, but don't, and here's the blank in your notes, don't sin. Lying is sin. Anger may not be. At its core, anger is an emotional energy to be used to solve problems. Anger is sinful when it is used to attack others or to attack self. Attacking self, stewing, repeating over and over, I'm so stupid, I'm so stupid, I'm so stupid, I can't believe I did that, I'm so stupid. Attacking others or attacking self is sinful anger. Well, isn't that just norm? Yes, we are normally sinners, but it must be seen as sin, as something disobedient to God, as something that continually breaks our relationship and separates our relationship from God. And if we cannot have God's help to solve these problems, then we will just continue to spiral down until everything is destroyed. Get angry. Do not sin. You see, the failure to solve our problems daily means we're giving place or a foothold to the devil. We're opening the way to disappointment, resentment, bitterness, and hatred, distorting subsequent problems. Because of George Floyd's murder, the other murders that have happened, the other people who have died that should not have died. In this spring of 2020, there is much anger, there is much pain, there is much heartache. And the anger itself is not sin. But when anger, an energy source given to us to resolve problems, is then used to destroy things, that is sin. It is painful to think that in a couple of weeks of riots, we lost more African Americans from the violence of the riots than we lost African Americans, which brought about proper protest. Anger, sinful anger, is terribly destructive. So get angry, but use it well. And don't let it rule. Don't let it become the focus of your life. Get angry, but don't sin. Second, stop clamming up. Cutting off communication by crying. Cutting off communication by threatening an explosion, by a volcanic eruption, by bottom lining, which is, well, all I have to say is, and as soon as I've dropped that line, all I have to say is, well, that means I'm not going to listen to anything else you have to say. I have made the final. That is clamming up, that is cutting off communication. We need to deal with our problems quickly. Each day has enough trouble of its own, Matthew 6:34. So if I'm going to, in my anger, not sin, I'm going to deal quickly with a problem. I'm going to refuse to clam up and actually deal with something. I want to give you 6 questions you can walk into a situation and will help you get it solved. In our sinful nature, one of the most natural things to do is walk into a situation and lay out an accusation. How dare you? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I have just assumed your guilt. If we walk in with questions, we give the other person the immediate opportunity to give a different perspective, to fill in the rest of the information I didn't have to start with. And so as we walk in with these 6 questions, these are what we need to ask when dealing with a sticky issue. Number 1, do I have the facts right? I've heard that this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. What else don't I know? This is what I hear. This is what I see. This is what I think. Is there other information? Proverbs 18:13, he who answers before listening, that is his folly and his shame. Number 2, should love hide it? The Bible says love covers a multitude of sins. But when I see somebody's sinful behaviors and attitudes is hurting more than just an annoying thing to me, it is hurting other people, other relationships, then that's something that needs to be addressed. There are many times my wife might leave her socks on the floor. My wife might leave a wet towel on the floor, so my socks got wet. Do I really need to open my mouth and yell at my wife because my socks got wet? And so, should love hide this? Is this just the minorest of things? Get over it. Don't make it an issue. But when it's a sinful issue that is hurting a relationship, should love hide it? Is my timing right? My children learned in my family that dad gets low blood sugar right before a meal. So the half hour before supper, do not run to dad and tattle on one of the other kids. Now, whatever my issue, if I'll wait till halfway through supper so daddy's blood sugar is coming up, I can get almost anything I want. Daddy's feeling good. Is my timing right? If I'm attempting to open up a problem when I know the other person is tired, they're worn out, they're already frustrated by other issues, we'll probably not have a productive conversation. Number 1, do I have the facts right? Number 2, should love hide it? Number 3, is my timing right? Number 4, is my attitude right? If I walk into a situation because I just want to get something off my chest, this will not be a productive situation. If I want to bring healing to a relationship, if I want someone else to see how their behavior and attitudes are damaging other people so that we're all going to be getting along better, that is worthwhile. Is my attitude right? Am I trying to help the other person? Number 5, are my words loving. Ephesians 4:15 says, speak the truth in love. That doesn't mean being a nasty jerk and then add, but I say this in love. If you're a jerk, you're just a jerk. Adding the words, but I tell you this in Christ's love, doesn't stop you and me from being a jerk. Are my words loving? Are they constructive? Are they encouraging? Do they breathe grace? And lastly, the last question, have I prayed for God's help? Am I going in with nothing but the power of my anger? Anger may get me to deal with issues I've been letting slide until now. But if I have not prayed, if I have not asked God to give me the words so that we can communicate and resolve an issue, don't be surprised if this crashes and burns. Please check back in soon as we'll deal with the next two problems or the next two of the 4 rules. But let me rehearse the 4 rules before we close again. Number 1, be honest. Number 2, keep current. No, you never deal with our current problem. In your anger, do not sin, but rather walk in and start asking questions to move things forward. What we'll deal with our next time, attack problems, not people. And then lastly, act. Don't react. Thank you for joining me today. Please check back in for our next one.